So in our last session, we talked about FTFL, which was first time frame level or first time frame line. So in this session, we're going to cover second time frame level or second time frame line. So what is STFL? STFL is where the market will buy or sell from. Let's go back to our normal charts. When using STFL, after marking our first FTFL, I'll take here as our first FTFL, saying that we have a bullish storyline. Here, the market is bullish. So we're expecting the market to come to this support. Since the market is bullish, always expecting market to come to support or QM. So if I mark out this support here, you see the support is made up of two candles, which is the bullish and bearish candle. The support is made up of two candles, bullish and bearish candle. So we are going to mark the beginning of the first candle. This is the black candle. What we always do, or what I always do, I'll mark the first candle. This is how we get our SCFL. That's the process I'm showing you now. You mark the first candle because this candle started here and ended here. That's where the black candle started here, ended here. And this second candle that completed the full structure of the support started here and also ended around here. So we are going to mark started here, one step, ended here. Now, I'll remove the one in the middle. Inside this area, that's where we're going to look for our STFL. So the next thing I do, I always take this rectangle, draw a box from the beginning of that line I draw to this point. So I'll remove this one, I'll remove the lines. So inside here is where we're going to look for our STFL inside this box. Make sure you always draw the box, extend it to the wick of the candle. Now, we always do this if the support or resistance or QM has a long wick or a short wick. So the length or the height of the wick doesn't matter. As long as it has a wick, we can mark this. And after marking this, we go to this is a weekly time frame. From weekly time frame, when we are marking if our FTFL is on weekly, let me write that out. If our FTFL is on weekly, FTFL on weekly, if it's on weekly time frame, then our STFL will be on daily, while our TTFL will be on 4 hour, So this is how we are going to mark it. Then if our FTFL is on daily, let's do that also because we're going to work on that. If it's on daily, our STFL is going to be on 4 hour. Our TTFL is going to be on 1 hour. Then if this is on monthly, our SCFL is going to be on weekly. Then our TTFL is going to be on daily. This is a progression. That's the progression. So this one here, the FTFL is on weekly. So after marking out our area where we're going to look for the next key level to use, we are going to go down to daily because FTFL is on weekly. Now, when we go down to our STFL, if you want to buy, for buy, what do? We look for only two things on our SCFL. On SCFL, we are going to look for only two key level. For buying, if you are buying, the only thing we look for is going to be support or QM. Then for sales, if you want to sell, the only thing we look for is going to be resistance or QM. When we are on STFL, these are the only two things we look out for on STFL: support, resistance, or QM. So inside here, if I go down to daily time frame, looking at daily time frame, if I want to mark my trade, then I want to mark the STFL. I'll be marking the STFL here on this support. So this is the STFL where I'm going to mark. This is where I'm expecting the market to come to, but I'm going to do more refinement. When we go to TTFL, there are three things we look for in TTFL. We look for only three things. On SCFL, we look for only two, which is support, resistance, and QM, which are just two. Support and resistance are the same thing, QM. Then on TTFL, we look for three things, only three things. If this was the area where I want to take my trade, let's say the market storyline is set and we're waiting for a pullback or retracement into our support. After marking my support, this is going to be my FTFL. FTFL, this is the FTFL. After marking here, then I'm going to look into, because our FTFL is always, we are now, the FTFL we're focusing on now is going to be marking FTFL on support, resistance, or QM. So if this is my FTFL, which is support, two candles make up a support, which is this candle here, started here, ended where, ended here. This one here, this bullish candle started here and ended here. I'll mark it, then remove this one in the middle. Then I draw my rectangle from here to this point. I take it down. Then I can now remove these two lines. Then I extend my box to the lowest wick. This is the one with the lowest wick. Keep it there. Now, my FTFL here, this is the first FTFL, which is on daily. I'll put it there. FTFL on daily. You won't be seeing this on my chart. So I'm only doing this for learning purpose. FTFL on daily. So after marking here, if I go down to my STFL, the only thing I'm looking for inside, since we are looking for buys, is going to be support or QM. So I go down to the second time frame, which is the STFL. So coming down to the second time frame, I'll see that I have a support which is not fresh. And again, when going down to SCFL, the support resistance or must be fresh. Is a must. It must be fresh. If it's not fresh, don't take that trade. If it's not fresh, don't take that trade. But if the support or resistance is an apex, and the apex is on fresh, then you can mark it. Like this one here, this support is what is on fresh. I'm still going to mark it because this support is an apex. I mark it there. But most times when my SCFL is not fresh, I leave it. Then wait for confirmation. I'm going to teach you about confirmation later in the class. So this is how we mark it for support. Let's go to resistance. We've not seen QM yet. You're going to see QM. Or now we have this one here. Now let's say this storyline was set. Let's say this storyline was set and we have this resistance. to contend with. So if I mark here as my, remember this is daily time frame. If I mark here as my FTFL, that's the first time frame, mark this place as my FTFL. Remember, I'm not going to storyline. I'm not going to FTFL. We learned FTFL in the last session. If it's confusing you, watch that video again. If this is my FTFL, and I also said when marking FTFL, for now, we focus on where support, resistance, and QM. That's what I said. So now, it's marking here as my FTFL. This is daily. I do this. FTFL, 1 day. That is on daily. Then the same thing I'm going to do, I'll just draw my rectangle box here, expand it. Can expand it to this place. Now, if I don't want to be drawing those lines, I'll just extend this. I'll just stop this thing here. Then I extend it 1 step to the right. 1 step. That's all. I don't need to draw those line. Then I bring it down to the week. After bringing it down, I will go down to my STFL, which is going to be 4 hour. If I go down to STFL, what am I looking for? Since we are selling, I'll be looking for resistance or QM. That's what I'm looking for. Since we are selling, I look for resistance or QM. And if I check it out, we have an unfresh resistance up here. And on fresh resistance. I'm still going to mark it despite it's on fresh. Why? Because it's an apex. But most times when it's on fresh, I don't trade it again. Because if you're having the opportunity to see on fresh and on fresh. So if you see the one that is on fresh, no need to risk. But if you want to risk it, no problem. Most times it still works. Now, this is my resistance here. The only thing I'm looking for in SCFL is inside this box. I don't care if there's a structure by the side, by this side, above. I don't care about that. The only structure, key level I'm looking for should be inside this box. That's why I showed you at the beginning, in the beginning of the video, how to draw this box. So the only key level I'm looking for is inside this box. I won't leave here and start looking for key levels here, key levels here, key levels here. It's only inside here that I'm looking for key levels. So that's how we market, both buying and selling. We look for key levels inside that box. I'll do one more example on this. You are going to see. Let's say we have a storyline that is set and we have this resistance. If I mark the resistance here, if I mark this resistance, then I want to go down. I'm expecting market to come here and I want to sell. If I mark that resistance, then get my rectangle box, mark it to here, extend it one more step, then take it to the highest week. I go down to 4 hour because our FTFL is on daily. I'm going to 4 hour for the STFL. So getting here, the only thing I'm looking for here should be resistance or QM. We've not seen resistance yet. Now getting here, we have a perfect resistance that is on fresh, that is fresh, I mean to say. Now look at this place here. This is the resistance here that is fresh. You see that? That's a resistance that is fresh. That's a fresh resistance here for me to wait for market to come in here. Because second time frame line is where we buy or sell, but we still do some refinement on the third time frame level. So this is where I'm expecting the market to come to. If the storyline was set and the market is pulling back to give us a chance to sell. So drawing this box is really important, really important. If you don't understand, the whole thing is looking confusing, just watch the video again. All these support, resistance, support you're seeing above, if you mark them, you're going to see your SCFL, either QM or resistance or support inside there. If I mark this one, saying we have a storyline that is set, then we mark here. Okay, I'm not going to use that as an example. There was no storyline that was set there. Okay, using this one as a case study, we have this because there was a sweep rejection, there was a rejection, and this is daily. Let's say there was a storyline that I set. I'm going to do the same thing. I'll look for SCFL. I get the rectangle, draw it from the body, You see that body close of the candle, extend it one step, then go down to 4 hour. This is it here. Then I have a very perfect support here, which is support that is fresh. Oh, it was tapped already. You see, this is it. So always look for support and support resistance or QM. Inside your FTFL box, you always see support resistance or QM. Then now, if you go to you after marking your FTFL, you drew the box, you went inside the box to look for SCFL, and you're not seeing any key level inside, then ignore that zone. That's when you can now leave this box and look for key level that is somehow below or above. Let me use this one to show you an example. There was a trade where last week the market did not use the FTFL. There was no valid STFL inside the FTFL. Then I had to go look for another key level above. Let me check if it was on USD card, because I remember I took a trade like that last week. Okay, it was this trade. Yeah, it wasn't last week, some weeks ago. Now, marking this was remember this week here. When this week was the current candle, this was the previous candle for that week, and it broke a major area, which was a QM. So after breaking, I marked it, also marked here. I marked this area. I think I posted this trade also. So I marked here, extend one step. Then I went to my daily to look for STFL inside there. Looking at this place, you see we don't have any. There is no this thing here. There is no key level inside here. And I said inside our STFL, the only key level we look for is what is support resistance or QM. Support resistance or QM. So I did not see any key level inside here. So I ignored it. I did not use this key level. I did not use this key level here. I was looking for another key level above that might be a resistance. Then I saw this one and marked it. No matter how small the resistance was, it's still a resistance. I marked it. The market came to it. This was the trade on the 15th of April. So the market came straight to it. So in essence, what am I trying to say? When you look at your SCFL, you're not seeing any key level because your SCFL is very important, not the most important. FTFL is important, SCFL is important. So coming to your SCFL and you're not seeing any key level, despite this resistance on weekly, also corresponds with the resistance on daily, which I call MTA, multi-time frame alignment. I'm not going to pick this trade here. I'm not going to pick it because inside here, I'm looking for a key level. Key level. My SCFL is very, very important. Very, very important. Because if you get that one wrong, you lose your money. The way I'm trading is the way I'm teaching you. I marked this resistance because this was the next resistance after this resistance. This was the resistance I got for my FCFL, which is a perfect area for the market to come to. Then I was looking for a resistance or QM inside here. I did not see it. Then I left it there, marked this one. The market still came to it, tapped it, and dropped. So if you don't see an SCFL inside your FTFL box, then leave that zone. Look if you're going to see another resistance or support above. Remember, if you're going to see another support or resistance above that your key level, then you use it. Let's go back to this trade. Finally, let's look for one if you're going to see any trade that will have QM. We've been seeing support and resistance on SCFL. We've not seen QM. But you're going to see it. You're going to see it as you're trading. You'll see them. Now, we have a storyline. We have a storyline that is set here. I'm coming here because I want to check if I'm going to see QM. Then I mark my box covering here to this end. I extend. Then go to daily 4 hour. Then what are we seeing? Still a perfect support. A perfect support. That's what is here. The market did not come to this point, but this was the perfect support. I came down here to check if I was going to see a QM, but there's no QM here. Now, everything we're looking for should be the second time frame key level we're looking for should be inside this box. Let's look for a resistance. Finally, this is the final one we are doing. Okay, we have a resistance here. This resistance has rejection. So if I want to, if I mark here, then I extend, I mark there, then I extend to this point. Then we mark the whole box area, mark it to this top, extend here, extend to this part. Then after that, the next thing I do is for me to look for my SCFL inside here. I go to 4 hour. Since I'm marking this on daily, go to 4 hour. We have a resistance here, which was on fresh. This resistance here was on fresh. But since it's an apex, we are going to use it. So this was what we're looking for then. Since I've gotten a valid SCFL key level inside here, then I can look for my TTFL. If we're looking for buys, our SCFL must be a support or QM. If you're looking for sells, our SCFL must be a resistance or QM. You know that. When we're looking for buys, our STFL must be support or QM. When we're looking for sells, our STFL is a must be resistance or QM. Now, inside here, looking for my STFL, I went to daily. Now, this is good. This is good. This is what I was looking for. If you see here, this is my STFL. We have two key levels here. You see the first one, which is support, which is a support here. You see that? And we have another one here, which is what? A QM. If I switch this thing to line chart, you see that? A move down and a break. So this is a QM. This is a QM here, which is valid. So sometimes the market might leave the QM, then use this one. You get me? But you still make sure you place your trade. When you have QM and support inside, when you have QM and support inside your FTFL box, what you do, you make sure as you're picking your trade here, you're still observing because the price might also come down to here to use this one, then it leaves. But here, it's my side to use this one, my side to use this one. For now, we have a bullish storyline on weekly, so that might trade. I'm not scared of the trade because we have, if you see here, we have weekly storyline. This is a weekly storyline here. This is a weekly storyline. There's a rejection. We'll go to daily. Going to daily here, we see we have a breakout. You see, you have a breakout there. So the weekly storyline being bullish is is set already. So my trade should be from here or should be from here since we have a QM and a support inside the box. You now see that I'm not leaving this area to start looking for key levels here. That's one of the mistakes people make, and that's one of the difficulties they face. They live here and start looking for key levels far away from the current market. So if I'm looking for my entries, either I use here when I go to my TTFL, I know what I'm going to mark next. The next session is going to be on TTFL. Either I look for my TTFL inside here, then I use it to enter. I also mark my TTFL inside this zone also, then keep it. Because if the market doesn't use this one, it's going to use this one. Then when I enter the market here, when I enter the market here, the next draw on liquidity is where, if I go to weekly, this is where the market is coming from. If I enter here, this is where I'm expecting to take my trade from this place here. That's where I'm going to take out because this is the next draw on liquidity. The market does not just move at random zones. The market moves from key levels to key level. So if I enter here, the closest key level where the market that will draw the price himself is the draw on liquidity. Entering here, this is where I want to take out my profit. Then before the market gets to this point, what you might be seeing on 1 hour might be something like this. The market might be doing this, going, then comes down as if it wants to come and take it out. By that time, your mind is beating, thinking, I didn't I knew I would have taken out my profits here. Then the market will do something like this again. Like one of my trades I want to post on V75. I took a trade yesterday, V75. Did the same thing. Thing just hit TP some minutes ago. So later it will come to this one. So at that point where the market is doing all this, if you're a trader that is always scared you're taking out your profit, you will not make money because most of the time that the market is heading towards your drawn liquidity and you're just scared taking out a market that would have given you 1 is to 50, 1 is to 30. Because of fear, you're taking it out at 1 is to 5. You're not going to make money. You're not going to make money. So when you enter, allow it to run to your next draw on liquidity. I'm going to talk more on draw on liquidity where we always expect the price to go to obstacle. We've not learned obstacle yet. So this is a perfect example of having a QM and a support in your FTFL box. Remember, this box is our what? FTFL box. That's our FTFL box. That's the FTFL box. And inside this box, we have our what? We have our QM, we have our support.